All right, so this video is a full demonstration of painting this landscape here, and I'm going to show you everything from how I draw in a simplified, good composition. I'm going to explain why I'm making the decisions I'm making, why I'm leaving certain things out, why I'm changing the size of certain things. Then I'll walk you through how I choose the colors and values to block it out, and then how I develop the painting and enhance towards a focal point. All right, welcome to Paint Coach. If you're new to the channel, my name is Chris Fornatero, and I help thousands of students every single month get better at oil painting through my online courses and tutorials. And actually, the tutorial you're about to see was pulled directly from my Patreon page that has hundreds of tutorials of all different kinds of subjects. If you want to check it out, you can do a 7-day free trial. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. And as always, if you have any questions along the way, please leave those questions in the comment section. I love seeing them. I'll try to answer them either down there in the comments or in a later video. All right, let's get to it.
I'm going to be doing things a little bit different, but what I'm going to be teaching you is so valuable that I wish someone would have taught me it early on. So I have this photo that I took down here in Florida, and I actually did a plein air painting of this. It's really simple. This is it, just so you know. I have it just off screen here, and I'm going to be using that for my colors because those are the colors that I got while painting out in the field. Actually, like when I was mixing it, like I'd hold my brush up, close an eye, and like match the colors, which are very different. You can see the colors are very different. Like this is a lot more grayish purple. It's a lot more blue. That's a lot brighter than this. And so I just want to do this to kind of show you just the benefits of doing plein air studies, even if it's just to get the colors. Like you don't have to go out there and produce like a perfect painting. And most of the times you're not. And also just the compositional aspect, which I'll show you because I'm not going to be doing it like exactly like that. I'm going to be changing a lot of things, you know, like all of this, you know, this, I don't care. I don't want to deal with that stuff. It's not interesting. So I'll show you like what to do with things in your scene that aren't interesting. So overall, a good way to summarize everything I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be translating everything, which is the core idea of my landscape painting course. So I got ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, cadmium red, yellow ochre, cadmium lemon, and titanium white. This is just an 8x10 inch panel with burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, paint thinner, wiped with a paper towel. Just gonna get some more of that mixture to draw on my composition. Now, when I look at this, when I was there, now granted, I will say it's a lot easier to change things in person than in a photo, just because your mind, like everything's already locked down here. It's like, you know, if you're out there standing, like, you know, you move to the left, you know, 5 inches, it looks different. You squat down 5 inches, it looks different. You know, it's easier to get like a different viewpoint, and it's just easier to change things. But like when I look at this, what I like most is this path. I like this shadow. I like the path. Don't really care about this. This isn't very interesting to me. I like these trees. I like, you know, these verticals here. So it's like, okay, I like this path. I want this path to take up a majority of this. And it'd be nice if it led to the trees and kind of created a focal point in this corner area. So the first thing I want to think about is like, okay, I want the ground to take up the majority here. So like this is halfway. Let's say, let's put like this tree line. Let's put it all the way up there. So now I got all this room for the path. And just by doing that, just by acknowledging I want this to be about the path, I've already, look, we don't even have that much room to put these trees and everything because, which is a good thing because I don't like these trees. Like they're kind of boring. I want them to be a very, like a very background character is some kind of way to put it. And so if I got that, then let's say we got our path back here. Comes too much of an angle right there. Kind of goes back there. Angles back right here. And what I'm doing now, like with figuring out this composition and everything, I normally would do this with a sketch if I wasn't sure about it. In a little sketchbook, I'd do a little small thumbnail to figure this out. And so I liked this cast shadow from these trees, and it kind of came and then it went down. It's amazing how much more you see when you're actually out there. And there's more, this path back here. But then we have, get this out of the way for a second. I put like one tree trunk here. I'm just kind of mapping out the shadow. This one back here. We got one more here. Just going to keep that all mainly in shadow. I mean, these trees, even the parts that are getting hit with light, are going to be pretty dark. And you can actually, like, it's got like a Q-tip. You can use like a little piece of paper towel. Again, it's best to do this part in a sketchbook because it's very easy to do this stuff. But it's going to pull off some of that. That creates a light. And that's going to actually be our focal point right back there. But then I'm just going to keep moving along here. And this shadow, whenever you come across shadows like this, that like all these little shapes, it's so much better to simplify it. You don't need to put every single little shape that you see. You know, you can put some in, like we're going to put a few little like dappled light shapes, but just always remember when you have something like this, it's probably best to simplify it. Do something like that. And again, like when you're actually out there, it's so much easier to do things like this, but I like this grass over here. I like putting like a little piece of grass right there to kind of help guide you. But all of this grass and sand over here, and then this like grass here, I'm just gonna do something like that. But all of this is going to be dark.
All right, just going to pop in here real quick and let you know that if you want some more information and instruction on composition, if it just doesn't make sense to you, I've made a free composition coaching guide. It's a series of videos where I break down composition more thoroughly so you can understand it and start implementing it in your own landscape paintings. If you want to check that out, there's a link to it in the description of this video.
And part of the painting or the path here, this is one of the benefits of painting on a canvas that was primed not that long ago, like 10 minutes ago. Sometimes I paint on it like where it's dried and I can't really do this. which doesn't, it's not like 100% necessary, because I, ideally would have my sketch, my little thumbnail sketch. So I'd already know this stuff. This is dark, mid-tone, and I need to make a decision. Do I want this just to be a wall of green, or like just a wall of trees in the background? Because I don't have to keep it the same way that I did my study. Because like what I'm thinking now, like the things that go through my head is like I have this angle here, like this is going here. So whenever you got a strong angle one way, you want to mirror it on the opposite side. So maybe there's trees that kind of come down like that. I could do that, or I can do well, I guess you could say this is you kind of do the S composition. And so you could do something like that, which I like. I think that's good. You see, there's like two kind of compositional ideas that I just played off of there. It's like I could say like, oh, like angle there, do a different angle there. But there's also this angle. So maybe that is the best. And also this, if you've ever checked out Edgar Payne's book, Composition of Outdoor Painting, talks about the S composition, just like that. But with these trees, there might be a way to, pull them off as a mid-tone, but I feel like most of the time, trees are going to be dark when you're breaking things down into dark, mid-tone, and light. Even the parts of the trees that are in light are still going to be kind of considered dark when you squint your eyes. I know it doesn't look like it here, but, and just kind of take note of what we're doing here. We're taking these trees that are like all different kinds of trees. It's just a big jumbled mess back there. And we are minimizing their effects. And we're, since there's nothing about them that we're really that thrilled about painting, I'm trying to, minimize their impact on the scene. And how did we do that? We, one, made the area for them very, very small. So we made them smaller. That's always a very good thing to do. And kind of should happen by default when you find out what you do like. Like, since we knew we did like this, let's make this bigger, and then kind of don't have a choice but to make that smaller. And you can just make it simpler. And a lot of times with trees like this, like a tree line that I don't really care to paint, or like I don't find super interesting, I will make it like a wall of trees. It's kind of like my term that I like to say. Like, I don't worry about putting too much detail or like holes or being that true to what is there. The only thing I'm kind of being true to is the fact that it's a tree line. It's a mass of trees back there. That's kind of all you need. So I think that should be good. And like I said, you can then like pick and choose. Like if we want a little depth and light area, which you don't really need to draw in. Thing with dappled light is always think about where the sun's coming from. And you can see like the sun's coming, just by looking at these trees, it's coming from this way. And so it's shining on the ground, and these dappled lights, they're going to be elongated ovals in the direction the light is going. So think we are good to start painting. You can really kind of start anywhere you want. So many different ways to start. Start with your darkest darks. You can start with element farthest from the scene, which I'm going to do, which is the sky. Try and keep this a mid-tone, just some blue, some white. More white. Just get that little sky shape in right there. All I'm worried about right now is blocking in big, simple shapes. I promise you'll have time to put all the detail you want, if you want, later on. But what we need to do is we need to translate what we have here, dark, mid-tone, and light, translate that into color. So let's move forward. Let's get these trees. So blue and yellow gets a green, relatively dark green, way too saturated. Got to desaturate that. Use red. People always ask, how do you know whether to use cadmium or crimson? Well, this is warmer, this is cooler. If you want some warmer trees, like I'm going here, go for the cad red. See, when you have a study, if you have a plein air study, even if your study isn't like a good painting, like something you want to show people, you can at least like take the time to take color notes and figure out the color. Like I can then hold this up and be like, okay, let me test this out. It's not too bad. It's a little warm. Maybe if I push in a little blue and then maybe it's still pretty dark. I might actually be able to lighten this a little more yellow. That's not too bad. That's kind of close to what I'm looking for. Something like that. Maybe a little bit more yellow. And again, all I'm worried about right now is getting the value relationships right. And when I squint my eyes, I want to make sure that this green is darker than that sky and darker than this. And it can actually, I'm going to push a little more yellow, a little more red. See if I can lighten it up just a touch while still keeping it as a dark value, because I do want it to look like it's getting hit with sunlight. I think this is going to be good for now. Can always come back and adjust. This isn't the time for detail. Like, I'm definitely going to come back and put in other aspects of this. But now I want to get this this grass in the light, and it's going to be slightly lighter. So I'm actually just going to start a new pile. Yellow, a little bit of blue, a good amount of red. Or we'll actually burnt sienna. We push a little burnt sienna in there. Or warm blue. I'm just going, inching forward with this, testing it out on my little yellow ochre maybe, on my study. I see that's way too dark. Push the yellow. Red, maybe a touch of white. really taking my time to lighten blue here to get this right. That. Should a little more white into that. Also notice like the direction of my brushwork, left to right, helps create the flat feeling of that surface of that ground. Let's push it a little bit warmer. That's not too bad. Just gonna push a little bit lighter, some white, yellow here. Now something happened here that I want to point out. Pull that in there. Which is this is going to be a slope. And so it's not a flat surface, it's an angle. So I actually want to have it get a little bit darker. That's not something I see here, it's just something I know. So I'm going to branch off from this with like a little bit blue, a little bit burnt sienna. It's a very subtle shift. But doing this, maybe push a little burnt sienna, make it look like a little more dirt showing through the grass, is that slanted planes don't catch the light the same way a flat plane does. Put this in. And hopefully it'll help portray a slight slope there. I can always kind of come back and emphasize it more if I want to. But now, I'm actually going to come back to the screen and use it for the light side here of this palm tree. I'm just going to kind of mix up more of it. I'm going to go a little bit darker. Push a little more blue, a little more red. You can get it there. Right, let's do this grass that's in shadow. It's going to be kind of cooler. I can branch off from this green here. It's going to be dark, but also cooler. So let's push a little more blue. Use a little bit of our cooler red. Make sure it's still desaturated. I'm just kind of, it's actually not bad. Now we get to put in this shadow, which is not going to be nearly as blue as you see in the photo here. So it's going to see it as like a very desaturated purple. So if you get blue, then some burnt sienna, Burnt sienna pretty much acts like a red. Maybe a touch of crimson. Or no, maybe it's got a touch of the cad red. A little bit of white here. A little blue. This is pretty good. Need some more paint. Got the right colors, so they mix up enough. You can kind of see how desaturated this is. Not too bad. Definitely looks like shadow. It's dark, and but it's still lighter than the grass and shadow, which is what I was going for. And you got this back here. I feel like I always kind of make this mistake of like not using colors where I have them. I mean, I still got it here. This shadow color for the grass. Put it in there. Trees going up there like that. Everything takes some of this and kind of work it here a little bit. But you see how much like the light effects are already working? But we do need to put in this last area, which is pretty bright. I can take this ground color, just add some white to it, maybe a touch burnt sienna, but it's not pure white by any means. A little lighter. Actually, get a touch of yellow ochre in there to warm it a little bit, not too much. Remember when I was painting this, I was just like so surprised at how light I can make this. I also notice like my horizontal brushwork that's going to come into play like when you cut back into this grass. You don't ever want it to be like, you don't want to just like take your brush and go do like a straight line around the edge. If you have like little cut-ins, helps it give it depth and have it step back. That's why whenever you see me painting a path or a river, like when I'm around the edges of it, I'm going side to side. We're going to do the same thing here. Then a little gap there. Now, all that's left is the shadowed side of the trees. which are pretty dark. I'm going to push some more blue. So let's get some blue and crimson. Sure, cool my brush. Keep this all in shadow since it's up in the corner. It'll need to draw a ton of attention to it. I'm just pushing a little burnt sienna into here and just put this dark. We'll come back with the lights. But that's pretty much it. And you can see kind of how well everything's already working. Still wonder if I can push a little white, yellow. I can lighten this a little bit on the top. Kind of spill over the edge. But you can see like how much easier it is to move forward having figured this out. Like I always say, imagine if I just came and I just gave you this right now to finish the painting. It'd be a lot easier to finish. You know, just because it's so much of it's already done. Killer. Just bring my brush and start softening that edge a bit. I think I can push a little bit of darker edges here. Let's soften up. So it's always good to have softer edges with shadows. Just like that. Okay, so at this point, you can kind of move to any area you like. But what I like to do is I like to kind of get in my darks. And so I'm going to start up front here. And like right or at the edge here, a lot of times, get some like burnt sienna, ultramarine blue. You can see a little bit of dirt and just a little shadow under this little batch of grass here. You can also kind of pull maybe some of this in and just make this edge of the path, you know, a little more imperfect, to make it seem more natural. Same thing over here. Something like that. And now comes to putting in the dappled light. I'm just going to get some of the light sand color, and we'll want one maybe right here. I think I angled that way too much. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna wipe that down like that. And then gonna mix back up that shadow color. Fix that. So I want actually something a little more horizontal. So I can kind of see that. Something that kind of matches that. Making it soft on the outside. Now, when you put in dappled light areas, main thing is you don't want them to be any of these shapes to be too similar. Gonna make this a little bit longer, and it's most likely going to be brightest towards the center. There's going to be soft edges. Yeah. Come back in. I'm actually going to push a little more burnt sienna. Get touch of the crimson. I do notice it's like it's a little more of a reddish, pinkish tint to it. I'm just cleaning the paint off my brush, and it's gonna kind of soften the edges here. There may be a little small one there. So I'm going to have one of these kind of come here and hit that grass, so that I can take a brighter green hit that there. I want to keep it a simple shape. Don't want it to be too distracting. I think I can push a little more white, a little touch of burnt sienna. Kind of push the center of these a little brighter. Clear this one up. All right, I'm going to move on. I'm going to get some, let's get some burnt sienna here. Get a little bit of white. Maybe don't need that white. A touch of blue. I'm just putting a little bit of the dirt that's dark here. Cut it in right here. Just kind of like that. Just moving right along to the trees, creating dark, just to kind of put, and just use a little blue, a little bit of yellow and crimson, creating a dark, almost like purple, and just kind of giving some shadow underneath here. Doesn't need it to be anything crazy, and I'm also going to soften this edge here to help get it to read as grass a little more, and just don't want to draw a lot of tension there. You can see kind of like this is all you really need to do back there to get it to, read as some trees. All right. Now let's move up to these trees. I'm gonna create a desaturated purple, similar, kind of similar to this, but maybe not as light. Maybe push a little more burnt sienna to create the light side of these. On the right side, if you need to, you can always come back again with the shadowed side. Just the blue and the burnt sienna. Now, coming up into the palms, could indicate a few there. Maybe towards the bottom, palms always tend to be a little more burnt, a little more red, burnt sienna. Kind of push it a little more yellow. Maybe we can find one more light value, like a lighter value, like a warm. got a something. I think those are Raina's palms. The last thing is just kind of softening up this edge so it kind of reads as trees. But all in all, I feel like it's working pretty well. Done a whole lot. Looking to change. Maybe it's a good time to cut back in with negative space, as I like to say, or as like a lot of painters like to say, make that term up. Like here, I could maybe cut back into the edge of this palm tree. But I feel like all in all, this is working pretty well. Don't want to overdo it. But I also hope like showing this, you seeing this kind of shows how like plein air painting is possible. I haven't spent that much time on this, and like the last 15 minutes or so have been really like extra stuff. Like I could have stopped once I had just blocked it in, taken a photo, come back home, and finished the painting. So I remember like hearing painters say like, "Oh yeah, I got that, and I can just finish it back home," and I never really fully understood it, like what they were talking. Like, how can you just finish it at home? Like, what do you mean? And I feel like once you know what exactly makes a landscape work and what you need to capture out there or figure out there, it prevents you from wasting time on things that aren't going to help you. Whereas, like, before, I was painting this, say, like, 7 years ago or something, I'd be like trying to draw in that little branch and that tree trunk. Oh, there's one there. These are different kind of trees than this. And, oh, I got to put these bushes in. Like, no, you don't need to. You just need you need a plan. Like, you need to understand the fundamentals of the scene here. Here. I'm not really digging that. Really, I feel like it's just like distracting, not really doing anything. So I'm just going to take that out. Gonna get rid of this one here. Don't need you, little guy. Still want something there, but maybe just do like that, maybe. Put one little small one there. It's hard because I love when like the light dapples in the grass like that. So it's hard for me to let that go. Kind of putting this little shadows of that grass there. There. With that subtle transition. But I think that works. Now you could, if you want, put a person back there. You don't technically need it. Man, I'm really debating putting a person in. All right, I'll put a person in. Let's put nice reddish orange shirt because they're going to be heading with the light. Let's just put them right here. Get them some dark pants. And dark head. Face. Now, take my little rigger brush and let me create a little cast shadow for him. Oh man, I think I did that the wrong angle. It should be more horizontal. Like that. I think that's working all right. I think I actually might need to get a little bit of blue. Touch that crimson. I think I might need to cool / lighten this up a little bit. All right. I think that's good. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I always like doing these super simple landscapes to show you. I feel like it's a good opportunity to learn, again, like what really makes something work. A lot of people think they need a lot of detail, like that's what makes it good or not. But being able to do this, getting the fundamental things right will lead you to success. All right. Hope you enjoyed this one. Have fun painting.
All right, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see what I'm painting on a daily basis. You can follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.